Welcome back to Hillridge Confidential, where I have my say on what happened today. Our favorite girl most likely to be hated, Jill Lousy, was seen picking her nose in algebra. She can pick her nose, but she can't pick her boyfriends, as rumor has it that the last one has dumped her. Now, I know you all count on me to keep you posted on the dirt of the day, so let me say once and for all that no sugar daddy lawyer, nor outed cheats, nor sad pathetic victims of my wrath will have a say in what say I will have. So keep on threatening, folks, for I'm not threatened. And speaking of sugar daddy, have I got hot news for you.
So is it real?
Could be a staged stunt to get the site more hits.
We had multiple 911 calls about it all around 4 p.m. yesterday, but no one knows who she is.
There's at least a dozen prep schools in Manhattan alone.
Okay, so it's definitely Manhattan. I mean, look at the skyline. So maybe we can determine exactly where she is by recreating the buildings in the webcam view.
I got the best shot of the city from over our girl's shoulder. I hope it's enough to compare to the New York skyline and get a lock on her location.
This looks like an exact match to the view in the webcam. Let's take a screen grab of the girl and find out exactly where she lived.
Your instincts were spot on. Yeah, this looks like the place.
You track down the doorman, I'll have a look around.
I'm on it.
We can check the bullet's trajectory at the lab. Let's see if her sheets tell any stories.
Definitely bodily fluids. It looks like this Beth was an active young lady.
We'll get a sample back to the lab. Bracelet is solid gold. The shooter wasn't after her money.
Hey, Mac, I got Mr. King here. He's the doorman for the building.
Mr. King.
Man, Beth, what happened here?
You knew her?
Sure, that's Beth Rossmore. Oh man, this really sucks. Beth was cool. I talk to her all the time being the doorman here. Her folks are always out of the country, but she got herself off to a rich school on her own. She was super hot in that uniform.
What can you tell us about her?
Beth? She had a bad reputation because of her blog or whatever. She ragged on the kids at that prep school, but that was just a way to get even for all their gossip. Kids made cracks about her absentee parents, said she was a slut. She was actually a really sweet kid. It's my job. Well, until I get my band back together. So right now I stand and greet, hold the door, keep the bad guys out. Well, I guess maybe I blew that part.
Can you tell us where you were yesterday between 3:30 and 4 p.m.?
Is that when she... Well, I was out late the night before, so I might have taken a little nap around then. If someone got in, I'll never forgive myself. If her parents are here 1 week in 8, then they're lucky. Doctors Without Borders or something. Beth was all responsible, even kept the condo clean and neat all the time. I'd help her schlep groceries once in a while, do some handyman stuff. I'm a jack of all trades. She goes, or should I say went, to Hillridge Prep. It's walking distance, like 15 minutes away. Top school, like expensive place.
You like them young, Mr. King?
Oh, come on. Everyone loves those schoolgirl uniforms. Doesn't make me a perv or nothing. Besides, she's 18 now. Oh, the condo owners committee had those in case of emergency plans printed up after a fire last year. They printed enough for each condo to have a stack. People use them like stationery. I think BW's a guy she used to date.
I'd say he's questionable, but we don't have anything on him yet. Let's take this evidence back to the lab and see what it can tell us.
I thought it would be a good idea to go through our victim's blog entries, see what kind of gossip she's dishing out. Want to have a look? Looks like Beth wasn't afraid to make a few enemies. Jill, Jack, and Paul Jennings are certainly viable suspects now.
I better head over to Hillridge Prep to talk to Paul Jennings, the headmaster. Pronto.
Okay, by analyzing the placement of the victim's wounds and the bullet holes in the computer, we should be able to calculate the trajectory of the bullet and figure out where the shooter was standing.
That balcony can be accessed from the floor's hallway. It's part of the fire evacuation system. That means anyone could have snuck up there and took a shot through the window.
The killer got onto the balcony somehow while Beth was posting online, stayed out of camera view, and shot her in the back.
That balcony can be accessed from the floor's hallway. It's part of the fire evacuation system. That means anyone could have snuck up there and took a shot through the window. Hey, Don. I called ahead and the headmaster said he would meet us here. Should try something else. Let's put together the pieces and see what inspired someone to rip the... Interesting. If the plan's from Beth's condo and 3:45 is the approximate time of death. Master Jennings, I'm Detective Taylor, and this is Detective Fleck.
Pleasure to meet you both. What can I do for you?
We need to know whatever you can tell us about Beth Rossmore.
It's a horrible tragedy. I had my differences with her, but would never wish...
Differences?
That ridiculous blog of hers. And the whole Suge Daddy scandal.
So you're definitely Suge Daddy?
Apparently so. Beth's little blog tried to tar me with soap opera allegations. These kids from these rich families have so much money and so little oversight that they think they can get away with doing and saying whatever they want. Now, all contact I've had with my students is completely above the board and appropriate. I'm a happily married man. Oh yes, that's the fire escape plan from the red brick condos. You'd be surprised how many of our students live there. That note's from a kid on the bicycling team, I think.
Maybe it was from Beth, and you were her Suge Daddy.
That's preposterous. I love my wife. It looks like Jack Cooper's handwriting. He and his sister live next door to Beth.
Mr. Jennings, we have evidence that Beth was sexually involved with someone.
God, officer, I told you I have never acted in such a way. I have never been to her bedroom. Take my DNA if you need to prove it. I never touched that girl. As advisor to the cycling team, I'm on the planning committee for that race. I went to a 3:45 meeting yesterday about the race route directly after school. By bicycle, I might add. The meeting was located on the south side of Central Park. There were some city officials and some students on the bike team present. Beth's blog not only attacked me, but it spread nasty rumors about her classmates. Her blog was originally brought to my attention by a student named Jill Cooper. Jill's dating Beth's old boyfriend, I believe. Jill was sure Beth was writing about her, but of course it's difficult to prove when the blog uses so many code words. We tried to shut Beth's blog down, but she shouted free speech. Then I recommended expulsion, but Beth's parents tied that up in court. So she continued her bile. It was then she started the Suge Daddy nonsense, implying me. She was vengeful.
He's awfully involved with Beth not to be a suspect. Her blog gives him motive. Let's check his alibi.
You want me to follow up on that?
Why don't you come with me to check in on the Coopers first? I think it might be interesting. What's this? Looks Chinese.
Got it.
Miss Cooper, I'm Detective Flack, and this is Detective Taylor.
Is this about Beth? I've heard. I can't believe how awful. Ugh. And in my building.
We understand you were out sick from school today?
I haven't been feeling well lately. To tell the truth, school sucks with all those nasty rumors, and my boyfriend wouldn't stand up for me. If other kids feel like I do, I can see why Beth is dead.
It's been hard for you at school?
Beth attacked me on that stupid blog, and everyone at school watches it. She's always been jealous of me. How'd she know about the zit on my back? Was she prowling the balconies? I'm sorry she's dead, but at least that blog is over.
What rumors are you referring to?
She outed my brother Jack. I mean, telling everyone he's gay is just hoping some yahoo takes a baseball bat to him. If he wanted to come out, he would have done it himself. My boyfriend thought the blog was funny, told me to get a thicker skin. He used to date Beth, but she dumped him, and now he's with me.
We're gonna need his information.
Sure, but he's at boarding school now. He left a few weeks ago.
So you admit you wanted her dead?
I hated her, but I couldn't kill a fly. Besides, where would I get a gun?
We have evidence that Beth was sleeping with someone. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know who she's grinding, and I don't want to. Jennings comes by a lot to hit Dad up for donations and talk racing strategies with Jack. That's my dad's? I didn't know he had a gun. I hate guns. I'm a pacifist. Daddy's on the condo board in charge of safety. There was a small fire last year. Everyone freaked. He got a deal for printing a ton of evacuation plans. Gave a pad of them to all the condo owners. We use them for scratch paper around here.
Would you mind waiting here while we talk to your brother?
Go ahead.
You must be the detectives investigating Beth's death.
Yes. And we'd like to ask you some questions. Did you share your sister's dislike for Beth?
No, I liked Beth. I never let her blog bother me. Jill always got into hysterics, but I just found that hilarious. Beth knew how—
Were you two dating?
Haven't you heard? I don't date girls, but I idolize Beth. She was brave. Braver than I was. She had a great sense of humor and was easy to talk to. I didn't know how she did it with no parents for support either. She was the first one I told I was gay. Well, she did out me to the school, but it was only because I told her I was too chicken to tell anyone. Her doing that was actually pretty liberating. The whole world knows now, and I realized it doesn't matter. My sister is the definition of thin-skinned. Poke her a bit and she screams and yells. Sure, she threatened Beth, but she'd never carry that through. I think she likes being fragile. It gets Mom and Dad's attention.
Did you know who Beth was dating?
I think she was dating some older guy, but I never met him. Those are my team gloves. Mr. Jennings, the headmaster, likes everything just so. He's almost as easy to tease as my sister. That old relic came from my dad's trip to Hong Kong. I'm not sure it even works. It's old and ugly, so it's usually covered up.
Sounds messy with her ex. And no one seems to be sure who Beth was dating now.
Why don't we let her sheets do the talking?
Good idea. And I'll check up on her ex's whereabouts. If he was bitter about the breakup, it could mean motive.
Meet you back at the lab.
I was able to collect some DNA samples off the victim's sheets and was about to run them against all the men in Beth's life. How about we see who's been sharing her bed? There's your answer. Tom King, the doorman.
So Headmaster Jennings was telling the truth about not sleeping with Beth. Tom, it seems, is more than a handyman.
Older guy, much younger girl. Sometimes that can add up to motive. After you determined the shooter's location, we went ahead and pulled prints from the balcony door of the Vic's bedroom. Ready to have a look at them?
Prints are a match for Tom King.
He said he wasn't at his post when Beth was killed. Maybe there's a good reason for that.
He must be the older guy Jack talked about, and he fits the description of New Crush on her blog.
And he has a rep for statutory. I got his rap sheet right here.
We have proof he was sleeping with her, but why would he want to kill her?
That's what we have to figure out. Take those prints with you.
By the way, did you track down Beth's ex-boyfriend?
I sure did. He was out of state when the murder went down. He had nothing to do with it.
Well, let's go see if the doorman did.
You'll love this, Mac. Guess who had a gun on him when we picked him up?
Mr. King?
Exactly. I sent it over to the lab so we can test it when we're done here.
So, Tom, did you forget to mention some details about Beth?
We have evidence that you were more than a handyman to her. Care to explain?
Okay, so I was sleeping with Beth.
I think you know more than you're telling us.
With a killer on the loose, I thought I should protect myself. You have to believe me. I've been doing my own investigation, looking for stuff, seeing if I could help. After all, I feel guilty not being on duty at the door when the killer must have come in.
We'll be checking that gun you had to see if it's the murder weapon.
It's not. I didn't kill her, I swear.
What kind of stuff have you been looking for? The crime scene's sealed off.
I didn't touch anything, I swear. I was just poking around, trying to see if you missed anything obvious.
You smoke a lot. And at convenient times, what were you really doing?
I had a little thing going on with someone. Things gentlemen won't discuss, if you know what I mean. So that kept me away from my post a bit longer than planned. Because of that, a nice girl like Beth is now dead.
Well, that's very chivalrous, not kissing and telling. So this woman's worth you going to jail for murder? Must be quite a woman.
Wait. I'll tell you who she is, but let me talk to her first. I promised her I wouldn't tell anyone.
We've got forensic proof you've been with Beth.
Beth's 18 now, so it's all legal. And everything we did was consensual. I had no reason to hurt her. In fact, I've been trying to help you find the evidence that will lead to her killer.
We can charge you with tampering with a crime scene. If I were you, I'd start telling the truth. What were you hoping to find?
Okay. The truth is, I made a video of us in bed and she found out. She took it, hid it, and said she was going to turn it into the police.
Another charge.
I knew she'd never do it, but I wanted to find it before you did. She said it was hidden in her room.
That'd be a second strike for you. Bet you'd do anything to keep from going back to jail.
I cared about Beth. I just wanted the tape. I didn't want to see her dead. She said it would take a real brown nose to find it. I still can't figure out what she meant. She hated
Your mystery woman better verify your whereabouts at the time of the murder, because you're in the lead as far as suspects go.
Those evacuation plans are everywhere. Anyone could find out how to get in that building. Bike gloves, aren't they? Jack Cooper's the big bike nut in the building. His bike costs almost as much as my car. Never seen it. Some sort of antique gun? A lot of the condo owners have antique collections. She came on to me. I have a weakness for those uniforms.
It would seem so.
I double as a handyman. It gives me a chance to chat folks up. Beth's balcony door was sticking a few days ago. So you're saying the killer came in through there?
Very interesting.
You think he's telling the truth?
I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna head back to the crime scene, see if I can find that tape.
Mac, check out this teddy bear collection. Seems a bit odd for a girl her age.
Yeah. And remember the clue? There's even one with a brown nose.
Boom! Here's the videotape Tom was looking for. So she was serious about turning him in. That's motive.
Let's bring it down to the lab. Hey, Lindsay, got anything for us?
I checked the tape out. I'd love to see your amateur filmmaker go down for being a scum, but it's inconclusive who's on the tape. Maybe if we can link his gun to the murder?
Let's hope we can link his gun to the murder.
We've been trying to reconstruct Beth's hard drive. I found this email from Headmaster Jennings to Beth, but it's partially corrupted. Looks like there's a few extra letters in each word. Think you can help me figure out what it says?
Based on that email, it's pretty clear that Headmaster Jennings felt threatened by Beth's blog.
Let's see if we can learn more by deciphering the content of Beth's email reply.
Headmaster was sleeping with a student after all, but it wasn't Beth. It was Jack. The blog threatened to expose the affair, and since Jack's the real blogger, he may have wanted to out his relationship with Jennings.
That threat alone could provide someone with plenty of motive.
I'd say a visit with Jack is long overdue. Let's find out who was threatening who. We got a copy of the surveillance tape from Beth's condo. The camera only covers the side door, so it may or may not show us the perp. But it could confirm Tom King's whereabouts. Could you verify it for me?
Yep. I can tell you if it's real or not. The footage appears to be authentic, but the screen grabs I took seem to be out of sequential order. Think you can help me rearrange them?
So Jill was getting her revenge on Beth by sleeping with her new crush. Neither of them could have committed the murder, since that's the only door to the basement and there's no accessible windows. We can cross those two off our list of suspects.
Hold on. Did you notice something between the final two images?
Is that a tire tread? Looks like someone was leaving the building in a hurry.
This tape gives us more than the lover's alibi. There's a clue left by the real killer.
I test-fired Tom's gun as well as the antique one you picked up at the Cooper's condo. Now let's see if we can line up the striations and find out if either one matches the bullet we found in Beth's room.
Found a match, but not the one we expected.
Tom's gun wasn't the one used in the murder after all. Huh, guess he's just guilty of being a scumbag.
The murder weapon was actually the Cooper's Chinese gun, but was it jealous Jill or out of Jack who fired it? Both have access to their father's gun.
I was able to digitally enhance that tread from the surveillance video. Maybe we can determine what kind of tire it's from. The tread was made by a high-performance racing bike tire, the same kind used by the Hillridge prep racing team. Looks like someone on the team rode out the front door while Tom, the doorman, was otherwise busy.
Back. I think you'll be interested in what I've been working on. I was compiling a list of blog postings on Hillridge Confidencial from Beth's computer as well as on the web server. It was pretty messy considering her hard drive was shot. Literally. But maybe we can still match them up.
Why is there one left?
My question exactly. Turns out there was a new blog post on the web server at 6:05. More Jill Lousy stuff.
But Beth died at 3:55. I mean, she hated Jill so much she posted from the grave. Come on. I don't believe in zombie blogging, you?
It actually was zombie blogging. The IP address shows that Jack Cooper could take over her computer anytime and post to her blog. And he was the one doing all the text posts.
So Beth was the one getting all the FaceTime, but Jack was the real voice behind the Hillridge Confidential.
Looks that way. I'll give you a copy of this post so you can ask him about it.
Hello again, officers. How's the case going?
It's led us back to the real author of Hillridge Confidential.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We have evidence you posted all the Hillridge Confidential blogs, So why were you using Beth as a front for your ideas?
Beth was good on camera and was brave enough to put her face out there. But she didn't have the wit or the intel to put out a high school blog that got 1,000 hits a day. Some of the blog was about Beth's love life, but the names were my idea. Gay Bro, Jill Lousy, Shug Daddy, New Crush. Clever, huh? That was me. I used Beth's blog to indirectly out myself. I wasn't brave enough to do it in person. And this way, my parents wouldn't be able to send me to military school for doing it. Hillridge Confidential might have outed me to the world, but my loving sister outed me to her parents, so they could try to cure me. I figure if she can make my life hell at home, I can make her life hell at school. That was Beth's idea to make the headmaster look like a perv. I actually liked the guy. I tried to talk her out of that stuff. It was completely untrue. Tom was a good distraction for Beth when Jill dated her ex. But then I think Jill got wind of the new guy. She was planning on seducing him. I was able to use Beth's computer remotely. It's pretty easy, actually.
Your father's gun was the murder weapon. You had easy access to it.
I was down at the race committee meeting in Central Park when Beth was killed. Headmaster Jennings asked us to meet him there. The house was empty and I didn't get back till after 6. I didn't know that gun even worked.
Thanks for your time, Jack.
So Headmaster Jennings was terrified that Beth was going to reveal his affair with Jack on her blog, not knowing that Jack himself was the one threatening him. He grabbed a gun from Jack's house and went next door to silence Beth for good.
A plausible theory, but what proof do we have? A bike tread and a weak alibi? And how did he get the gun from Jack's place?
I agree. It's not enough to convict yet, but it is enough to bring the guy in and to recheck his office. Do you think he's actually dumb enough to use his work computer for his liaison with a student?
If he's a killer, I can believe it.
Jennings has some sort of password protection on here. That email certainly shed some light on things.
With the key to Jack's house, Jennings would have access to that gun. That's opportunity. And he stood to lose everything if his affair with Jack got out, so there's definitely motive.
You can use gloves to cover prints, but gunpowder residue sticks to everything. Looks like our killer wasn't so smart after all. We better head back to the lab to see if we can link the residue on the glove to the murder weapon.
Hey Mac, how's the case?
Got some GSR for you to match.
Every gun leaves distinct GSR, especially something so exotic as this weapon.
Let's see if we found our killer.
confirmed. The gunshot residue on Jennings' riding gloves is an exact match to the murder weapon.
Time to scold the headmaster.
I told you I wasn't sleeping with Beth, so why would I get that upset about lies? Legal would have shut her down eventually.
It wasn't Beth you were sleeping with.
Are you implying something? I follow all the protocols. No other girl has made any accusations, credible or otherwise.
Were you wearing these gloves when you rode your bike to the meeting?
Of course.
We found traces of gunpowder on them. An exact match to the weapon that killed Beth.
I don't know how that got there. Where did you find this?
Right outside Beth's condo. After the murder.
Well, I might have ridden by there. I mean, Jack might have too. Not to mention several other members of the team. It proves nothing.
We now know that Beth wasn't the real voice behind Hillridge Confidential.
What on earth do you mean?
Jack was.
I don't understand. Why would he write all that stuff about me? It was a mistake. A serious mistake. I ended it for good a few weeks ago. Jack was very upset and kept trying to convince me to come out and come back to him. It was soon after that all the rumors started showing up on Beth's blog saying I was seducing students. Then she revealed that Jack was gay, and I didn't know what she was going to say next.
You lied to us. You said you were at the race meeting at 3:45, but Jack told us you didn't start it until 4:15. That means you are unaccounted for at 3:55 on the day Beth was murdered.
Maybe I could have gotten to the meeting on time if I hadn't hit so many red lights.
Or if you hadn't stopped at the red brick condos to kill Beth.
We have confirmation you were sleeping with Jack Cooper. Jack, as Hillridge Confidential, was going to reveal your secret to the world, but you thought the blogger was Beth, so you planned to kill her to keep her quiet.
This is preposterous!
We know you were late to your meeting, so you had time to commit the murder. Tom was away from his post, so you got in and out of the building without being seen. You had a key to the Cooper's condo, which is on the same floor as Beth's, so you swiped the Chinese revolver and headed out to the balcony. The fire escape plan showed you the way. We have your tire tread at the scene, and gunpowder from the Chinese gun on your gloves. That's motive, opportunity, and a murder weapon. The Holy Trinity. Then you replaced the gun, expecting us to find it and blame Jack. You rode to your meeting like nothing happened. Sadly for Beth, you had the wrong victim. Jack was the one who wanted to expose you.
Jack is a headstrong boy. Too naive to know how these things work. I cared about him, but he's young and rich. I knew he'd find a way out of this mess, even if he was accused of murder. But if that blog had outed me, I'd have lost my job, my family, and my reputation. My life would have been ruined. That poor girl. Why couldn't Jack be content to keep things between us?
Headmaster Jennings wanted to hide his indiscretion, and he was willing to resort to murder.
And a girl who craved attention got more than she could handle.